On this week's show, all about that Star Wars celebration. All this and more on episode 85 of the Inside Infinity podcast.
What's up, guys? This is John Vignacchi, executive producer on Disney Infinity, and you are listening to Inside Infinity, the first official Disney Infinity podcast on the net.
Hello everyone, welcome to Inside Infinity, episode number 85. I am one of your many hosts on tonight's show, Will Kelly, and joining me as always, Mr. Jason Haynes. Jason, how are you doing, my friend?
G'day, Will. G'day, others, friends, and listeners.
Throwing us a curveball. Awesome.
Well, I don't know. I hadn't practiced it. You just put me on the spot.
That's true. It's not like you've done this every week for the last 2 years.
G'day all. There you go. G'day all.
I'm new to the podcasting world. Thank you.
That is not 40s voice. That is weird European British Steven
Logan,
voice.
Logan, you need to work on your impression, dude. That was really suspect.
Bloody hell, Cap. I don't know what the hell you just said.
See? I told you it wasn't me. It was Logan doing an awful impression.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was bad. That first voice you are hearing, it was now doing a ventriloquist while drinking and talking. Mr. Steve C. What's up, buddy?
Good evening, everybody. How's it going? Glad to be back.
Good. And you are joined not as always, but Sarah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's been
Way
a
to
while.
just screw up her intro.
I do apologize. You guys, whatever.
That was that intro. As always, actually,
Well, not
very
really.
rarely you're on the
Well,
show.
Sarah, how
My,
is...
my presence is always here.
Oh my gosh.
Will. It's always here.
Good thing these lights are so bright because you can't see me blushing. So we're so happy to have the two of you on. You're coming off of a stint at the Star Wars celebration, and that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about tonight. So can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Actually, I'm really, really excited about it. It's going to be cool. It was a really busy weekend. I was really pumped up for the show today until I logged on and I saw that Logan was here.
That's the best segue I could have imagined. So
I did that on purpose.
That other voice you heard was none other than Logan Lanou, who had his first podcast for the Mouseflix podcast last week. Part of the Disney Infinity TV team. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I am doing excellent. I'm a little tired, but we're all right. We're going to do this.
Good. Well, it's because you watched too much Star Wars Celebration stream this last
over
week.
30 hours of Star Wars Celebration streaming. I watched it all, every minute.
You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy.
Logan, your show is Mouse. What is it again?
Mouseflix.
Was that because Mousecast was already taken by another podcast?
No.
Oh, look at the
Are you
shirts.
sure? Are you sure? Because it sounds very similar to another show that I personally am a big fan of. Look at Jason at the left. You know it's a weird product placement, don't you?
Oh, I say nothing.
No,
I'm looking
Yeah,
forward.
you don't.
So
Nicely done. See,
So-
that's why I came out with Outside Infinity. It's a very rare, it's slight differences between the two. You could still have your own show name. That's cool.
Yeah,
Mouse
that's-
Flix,
you know-
Mousecast.
Will actually named it Mouseflix, and I think it's because you created Outside Infinity. It
What?
was more.
Oh, look
yeah.
at Will's face.
What?
You just threw him under
Oh,
the bus.
this is great.
That's you. Not
This
only
is the Jerry Springer
I
of
was just
podcast
about
right
to
now.
say Jerry.
Whoa! William! Oh! And like Jason right now is like the bouncer that's gonna come in from the side
He
and
is,
like
he's
push us
Steve.
apart.
he's Steve. He's gonna get his own show in like 10 years. Well, since you mentioned it, so you guys just had a relaunch, Steve C. Tell us about Media Meltdown Podcast Network.
Since I mentioned it and threw Logan right under the bus, support the. All right, I'm not gonna do it anymore. Yeah, we just the Media Meltdown Mouse Podcast Network, which is the one that I work for, the Mousecast, for 2 years now. Just relaunched the whole thing. I have multiple shows now, including one video show where I just talk about all the shows on here. It's gonna be sort of a ripoff of The Soup, but that's gonna be fun.
So it's
But
a
yeah,
weekly recap of all the other shows?
It will be a fun weekly recap. It's going to be under 10 minutes long, just me on camera talking, and I'm excited about that just because I'm
You
a
love to hear
closet
yourself talk,
narcissist.
yeah.
Absolutely.
See, that's what I was gonna say.
Why would I do anything other than want myself on camera solo, laughing at all these other shows? But there's Mousecast right there, and it's funny you bring up the Tease page, Will, because we have a special guest host every single episode of Teased. It's going to be Steve, the host of the Media Meltdown Mousecast, and Will and I. And we go through every trailer that was released over the month, breaking it down and talking about it and showing it on YouTube and on download. So as a proud fan of the Inside Infinity group, that's where we stand. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's who
Awesome.
we are.
You guys have so many shows. It's really really impressive to see the relaunch. Yeah, this is really cool, man. I'm
Thanks.
really happy for you guys. The only thing that I did kind of have a little bit of issue is kind of
Say
bring
it.
it.
Just read it. Yep. Just go to the bio. It's okay.
Just go.
I wrote it,
Oh my
and I
God,
think it's
dude.
hysterical.
So the saving grace is that Sarah's in that picture with you, but that's about the only good thing about this bio here.
Are you kidding me? If I had a bio like that with just my face in it, people would ban the site.
That's true.
Kind of like what's going to happen when Mouseflix launches.
It already has launched. Where have you been?
I'm watching Mousecast.
So to bring it back around, so you guys have a lot of shows, and they are all film or entertainment focused, right?
Yeah, we have some like you're going through. CRH is a honestly, this show on the top that you're seeing is my favorite on the whole network. It has sort of nothing to do with anything. It reminds me of listening to Howard Stern or anybody that is a popular DJ today. They just talk about funny stuff. Focus on Film, where you're at right now. They talk a lot about Criterion films and indie arty films. It's a very select group that like this show, but with the people that do love it because they talk about stuff that most other people don't. Then you got the Meltdown Soup, which is going to be my monthly or weekly, video recap of all the other shows. Then you've got Mousecast, which is the one that Steve, Jeff, and I are on. We talk about everything Disney, parks, films, everything. Then you got your show, Will, that you're going to be an integral part of, which is Teased, where we talk about trailers. And we look at every trailer that was released, whether it was leaked, like the one that I leaked this weekend. Logan, you probably saw my video. You can thank me later. But, just in general, all the stuff that's coming up. And, honestly, this is the one that I'm most excited for because it's most meant for YouTube. And it's going to look great because we're going to insert the clips. And I'm really excited about that. Then you have the High Five, which is the show right here, which is what the entire network was based off of. And every show is weekly High Five lists. And they are from as random as favorite summer films, which was just released, to favorite sex scenes, favorite villains, favorite Bond character. I mean, it's just all over the place. It's a really fun show to listen to. I'm not involved with it, but it's really great. And then we do the newsroom, which I'm also involved in, with just a weekly recap pretty much of everything involved with movies and TVs every week. And we do that weekly. And then the last one I have nothing to do with because I know nothing about wrestling, but most of the people on the show do, and that would be Time Limit Draw. And
Funny
it's
enough, that's the one podcast I do listen to on your network.
Hey, Logan, I'm not going to throw you under the bus anymore. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
Do you like wrestling?
I do.
Okay, so this is the weird thing. Will, I don't know if I have slipped into some weird group. Apparently, a lot of people are into this now, and I don't get it. But this show is a really popular show. They break down all the craziness. I listen to it so I can make fun of it on my show, but I don't know what the hell they're talking about because I don't know any of these people.
So, like, my wife makes fun of me because I watch wrestling, but I tell her it's my soap opera. I mean, it makes no sense. I know it makes
That's
no
what
sense.
they say.
But I love it because it's a soap. That's all it is.
That's exactly what these guys say, and that's cool that you say the same verbiage because I guess that would be sort of how it goes. It's dramatic and whatever, so it's a very popular show on the channel. So, Will, thank you very much for the extensive plug. I'm excited to do Teased with you soon, and I think that it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, man, it's a great site. You guys do a lot of great work over there, and I wanted to make sure that you did have an opportunity to talk about it. I've been privileged enough to guest a couple times on the Mousecast when we've discussed Disney Infinity. So anyone who's a fan of anything Disney, whether it be movies, the parks, cartoons, Disney Infinity even, make sure you check out Media Meltdown Mousecast. But if you're just interested in all forms of entertainment, then it's just, you guys do some awesome stuff. And I love it because it's pretty much a one-stop shop for anything that you could possibly have an interest in. If it's entertainment, then you're going to find something to suit your taste there. So you guys are
Never
awesome.
been invited. True story.
What?
Yeah, true story. Because you need
Second
to
that.
record. Oh well, Logan, just go to sleep on that. It's not gonna happen. Hey, on the Mousecast today, we're gonna support rival podcast Mouseflix, and which is a better show, and then we're just gonna fight each other for an hour.
Hey, I bet you would have the highest ratings you've ever had, most viewers yet.
I like you, Logan. You know what? With the next show we're doing, you're gonna be on it.
Well,
Fine by me, man.
yeah, so everyone check out the Mousecast and Media Meltdown. So it's again, that's MediaMeltdownPodcast.com, and we'll be tweeting that out in the show notes as well. With that, everyone, let's go ahead and get started with this week's conversation. We don't really have much topic to discuss, but before we do that, I want to make sure that everyone checks out Disney Infinity Fans forum. That's DisneyInfinityFans.com, the #1 Disney Infinity related forum on the internet for all things Disney Infinity. They are bringing the show in partnership with them, and they're just a great group over there. A lot of us are members there, and a lot of our listeners are members there, and yeah, it's just a great group. So head over to DisneyInfinityFans.com. Also like to welcome everyone who is joining us in chat. We have lots of our good friends there. Not going to run down the list this week, but we do want to say hello to everyone. We're glad to have you there. If you want to watch us live, you can do that each and every Monday evening, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Just head over to twitch.tv/DisneyInfinityTV. With that, let's go ahead and get things started. First thing we want to mention, and it's basically, we're going to mention what we're not going to mention, and that is the elephant in the room. There was a rumor that dropped this week, and basically we're going to bring it up at the top of the show saying we're not going to talk about it, so please don't ask us in the chat room. We do want to respect the wishes of Disney Interactive and Disney Infinity, and so we're not going to be mentioning it. Didn't want to throw that out there. So sorry if you're tuning in for that. Doesn't mean the conversation is not going to be a good one. The first thing we want to discuss today is pretty much the only news item of the week, and I'm curious to hear the panel's thoughts on this. So we all know a Disney Infinity version of, or a Vita version is releasing for Disney Infinity real soon, May 9th. That's just in a couple weeks. Well, it's looking like it's going to be at least in the United States, Jason, I don't know if you've caught wind of in your neck of the woods or in the UK, but it looks like here in the States, it's only going to be released at GameStop, which is peculiar and odd. This news is coming at you from Infinity Inquirer. Jason over there is saying that he thinks that maybe no other retailers are that interested in carrying it, and that's how it ended up being a GameStop exclusive. Personally, I have no opinion on this. I did want to bring it up because it's a news item of the week. Does anyone in the panel have any thoughts on this Vita starter pack being an exclusive to GameStop? Logan, I know you're.
It makes sense because I mean, the toys to life genre takes up so much shelf space as it is.
Yeah.
Why do they need another spot, on the shelf for a Vita? I mean, I know they're under lock and key here in the U.S. Normally, at Target, Walmart, and other big box stores. But GameStop keeps all of their consoles in a back room off of the shelf. So it makes sense, it's not something extra they have to do, to allocate shelf space and stuff for. So it kind of makes sense. And plus, GameStop, I think, felt a little bit of the pain from 1.0 by not getting any exclusives except for the Jack Skellington, when Toys R Us getting all the crystals and stuff like that. So I think they're trying to make up ground. Yeah.
Logan and Will, can I ask you guys a question about this? Because I just saw an interesting article the other day, and I was talking about it earlier today with Steve. GameStop was just on CNN posted as one of the top 5 companies to fail and disappear by the end of this year. Do you guys think that this is something that's going to actually affect Infinity? Because if you're going to make this a thing, does GameStop still make business? Do they still do enough business to
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, that's probably why they have exclusives at GameStop now, is try to revive it, because they feel like they're disappearing.
I think GameStop, the title as a store, may, because Walmart's now in the into buying back games. Best Buy does it, trading in games and stuff like that. And that was GameStop's bread and butter for a long time. But GameStop actually has figured out that may happen to them, so they've been branching out into other avenues, like buying back phones, and now they buy back gift cards from any store.
I did see that. Weird. There's,
I didn't
they
know
have a clear case with used phones and gift cards that have been verified with numbers, and I was like, "What do I? Is
Whoa.
this like a real eBay at this point?" Because it just seemed really
It's-
bizarre. But
It's
you
a
know, I
national
guess
pawn shop is pretty much what they are.
Yeah.
honestly, it seemed like a digital pawn. You just nailed it. That's exactly what it felt like when you were in there. There were used iPads and touches and all this other stuff. I was like, "What is going on in this store?"
Well,
So I was just wondering what you thought.
I traded in my iPad too to get my Xbox One. So
Did you really?
yeah.
That's a good choice.
They gave me like $200 and something for it, so why not?
Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah.
For
That's
two, that's
fantastic. I need
great.
to go. I need to go trade mine in.
That's an interesting point that you're bringing up. It's definitely a business that is having issues changing with the times. Digital distribution is becoming such a big deal, and they've always been known for exclusives. My personal thought is that if they were to go the way of the dodo, I don't think it would affect Disney Infinity all that much. There's so many other retailers. I would imagine the majority of Disney Infinity sales come out of big box stores like Toys R Us, Target.
100%.
Yeah, so
Well, you know,
Yeah.
Infinity's got a weird thing is that the factor that they look like toys. That's a huge selling
Mhm,
point.
exactly.
And when you walk through,
Yeah.
we'll talk about this later, but one of the guys that we met in line liked Infinity just because of the figures. And then they got into it because of the figures. So, you know, you don't typically walk into a GameStop and try to find, you know, toys. I mean, it might spark your appeal and you might like them, but when I was just there the other week, I was picking up the last two because they allowed store pickup. I saw that every game that you pre-order offers some sort of like alternate storyline. Like if you pre-order the next Batman, you get to play the Harley Quinn storyline. I'm like, dude, do we need to pre-order this now because Harley Quinn is kind of cool? You know, it's a weird thing. So I was wondering, is this actually going to happen? Is this company going to go away? Is this going to affect Infinity at all? But I don't think it will because Toys R Us and Target kind of dominate. I
Yeah.
mean, every post I ever see is people talking about, hey, Walmart released this a month early. Pick up your Aladdin now in November. You know,
Right.
it's that kind of thing. So I don't really think people are buying it from there, but I just curious what you thought because that's it used to be a huge deal, right?
I don't think GameStop is going to affect Infinity that much, simply
No.
because like the only time I buy figures from GameStop is when they've sold out everywhere else because GameStop sells them for more and nobody buys them there. You know,
That's a good point.
so
Maybe that's why they're failing. If you can't find them at Toys R Us, go to GameStop. They'll be there.
right. But GameStop's biggest thing is like Will saying is being able to buy your games and stuff digitally. Whenever Microsoft had announced that they were going to try to do digital only or like only one, you know, hand off to one person or whatever before they launched the Xbox One, if you would have watched GameStop's stock just plummet, and it was so volatile. And then as soon as Sony came back and said, we're going to keep it the old-fashioned way, their stock came back. So they are dependent on the system sellers and stuff like that, you know, the system manufacturers more than anything else. So I don't think it'll affect Infinity simply because, like you said, any good sale you see is actually going to come from Target or Toys R Us or Walmart.
Do you think
Yeah.
this is going to affect their exclusives with them later? Like,
No.
Jason, what's it like out there? Do you actually get exclusive with places, and what do you think about exclusives when it comes to different locations?
No, we don't have that exclusive garbage.
Lucky you.
I will
The
say
voice of-
that
Not
it-
as
it is
bad as you
cold
guys
garbage.
anyway. Every now and
It
then
is
we do
garbage.
get it, but it's not anywhere near to the level that you guys have it. So we don't have to worry about it generally.
I hate the exclusive stuff because, like, you know, like certain games, like Best Buy will have this one exclusive character, or GameStop, if you pre-order here, has this other exclusive thing, and you have to weigh which exclusive do you want.
Want more?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? It sucks. It totally like I want to buy a game and own the entire game. That's all I want.
You know,
But it doesn't.
that's a good point. If you want to buy it, don't you want the whole thing? I like the idea of there being a special, but when everyone offers a special, then it's no longer a special. At this point, it's
Pick and choose your
you got to
special.
pick and choose you got to pick your battles. Do
But
you
you
want
do-
the Harley Quinn or do you want the Joker storyline? You got to choose. You're not going to get both. I think that kind of sucks, Logan. That's a good point.
Well, you do realize you're on a Disney Infinity podcast where we have to pay for every character we want to play as.
And sometimes you have to pay 7 times, and you have to keep paying for it over and over. I'm just joking.
So, just
So, yeah.
pointing that out there.
So I guess it remains to be seen whether or not GameStop is going to continue to be a location to purchase Disney Infinity stuff, because who knows if they're going to be around. But yeah, this is not the GameStop podcast, so let's go ahead and continue on here.
I'm sorry, Will. It was a legitimate question. I thought I was doing a good segue. It was a huge news story this week, and you just mentioned them. I'm sorry.
No, it totally was. In fact, I even read an article today that said that they're getting into the retro video gaming business, and that's just, I think, them trying to diversify their business because they're struggling now. And
it's a desperation move, just trying to scramble onto anything.
They're turning into a pawn shop. They're willing to buy and resell like NES games and Super Nintendo games and stuff like that now, and systems as well.
Again, off topic, but that is the first thing that's intrigued me about GameStop in probably 8 years. The fact that I might be able to get retro stuff from them, because that stuff's a lot of times hard to get.
I mean, there is a store when I used to in Florida. It was called Play and Trade. There's none here. I don't know where else they are, but
they're here in Arkansas. I have 2 or 3 branches in Little Rock. Yeah.
So Play and Trade is basically like the back of it. The ones that I went to, the back of it is all like you play whatever game you want, and they got stations set up. But the whole thing is like almost like a garage sale of retro games, and they have GameCubes, and they have all of the N64 games and all of the NES stuff and like that. It's all it ever is. There barely is like there's new games and stuff, but it's really rare that they actually get new releases. It's all retro, so I feel like that's gonna be GameStop.
Can I ask a really quick question? You guys just answer across the board without going on it. She just said something that kind of blew my mind. Do you guys say the word NES or NES? Because I've always said NES.
Sorry.
Hold on a second. Jason?
There's nothing wrong.
I say NES.
Do you say NES?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, hold on a second. So now we're at 50-50. Will, break this. What have you always said, NES or NES?
So I constantly hear both, but I say NES.
Yeah, we'll take it.
NES and SNES. That's what I say.
I've never heard the word NES before, and I always just said NES, so I was just curious. You just kind of blew my mind just now.
Well, I take it back then.
You take it back. You just took like 45% of the panel. We're good.
Okay.
I'm glad they have good math in Arizona.
I'm not from Arizona. I'm from Boston.
Well, even worse.
Oh, too funny.
Actually, did I mention that I'm from down under? I learned all my arithmetic in. I'm not gonna stop. Just go ahead.
Stop.
I don't think he's paying attention anymore. Jason, can you respond to my chat message real quick?
Oh God.
No, it's too early for the
Well,
baby.
this is what happens when you guys make fun of my arithmetic skills.
Which particular chat is that, Will?
Slack.
Rounding. Leave me alone.
Right.
It is too early. I understand it's too early for creepy baby face.
It is. Although chat, I'm sure, is really excited to see it because they got a taste of it in the pre-show. So
was there a pre-show today?
Just the one that you were on 5 minutes prior to show start.
I didn't know that was live. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Was it? It was for a few minutes. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue on with the real meat of tonight's show. So, not really Disney Infinity, but you know what? It's Disney, and it's going to be Disney Infinity related. So we're going to talk about it because we hope you're okay with that, chat. Star Wars Celebration. Huge Star Wars info this last week. I lost the bet, so I owe the group money. Disney Infinity, and actually, Steve C., you convinced me of this like 4 days prior to leaving for your trip out there. Disney Infinity 3.0 was not announced at Star Wars Celebration. We'll have a brief discussion at the end of this conversation about when we think it might show up. There was a little bit of Disney Interactive stuff. There was the huge reveal of Battlefront, which was hotly anticipated. Which
dominated one of the discussion points the entire weekend, which I agree with you when we talked about it before last week. Makes sense now because this game, up against the trailer for Force Awakens, was the one thing people were talking about up until Saturday night. So,
which is ironic because the panel was worthless.
Yeah. No. It was worthless. Yeah, and you know the thing that people keep on talking about is the first player walkthrough, and that wasn't at the panel. I see you're hydrating now. Good job. You have the 10-gallon bottle back. I'm proud of you. But it wasn't at that release. It was sort of later on when they opened up a small thing for people to walk through where you got to see what the gameplay was going to be like, and that's when people started talking about it. Because then you could not avoid Battlefront the entire weekend. That was the second most important conversation besides Force Awakens until Sunday.
I would say third, but okay.
Hey, I was there, Logan. Where were you, buddy?
covering all this stuff, watching
Exactly.
it nonstop.
I was on the floor hearing people in line. All you do in this thing is stand in lines. Lots and lots of lines, surrounded by lots of people, and all people talked about in my area was Battlefront and the new Force Awakens trailer until Sunday, and then it shifted.
So you actually sent me some photos of being. Here's one of my favorite ones right here.
Oh, here it comes.
What? I bet you think it's gonna be you, don't you?
No, absolutely not.
Yay!
Oh, this is
I
girls
love
Sabine.
that photo. Yep,
Look at
I
these
love the
two pretty
Sabine photo.
ladies. So that's Sarah and your daughter Lila. Lila's there with you the whole time, wasn't she, Steve?
She was there the entire time, including when we got there at midnight on Wednesday. Coincidentally, just
After
right
the pizza distribution.
after the pizza, we showed up in line. Sarah's favorite picture of the whole trip was right there.
Okay, wait, hold on. I want to talk about that one a little bit because this is really funny. It's a side note. But so we were in line and Lila had to go to the bathroom, and the bathroom has like two entrances. Like, you know, public bathrooms have like the two little like walkways that go around the wall. So no joke, this was an accident, but the left side of the bathroom walkway, the lights were off.
It's the dark side of
The light was
bathroom.
broken, so it was like the dark side of the light side, and I was like, all right, Lila, choose wisely, and of course she chose the dark side, but I thought that was just hilarious. And then
That's
she
amazing.
runs in, goes right under the sink, and then just does this really scary face, so I took a picture.
Yeah, that's her Sith face. Sithla
Oh,
is what we called her the whole
weekend.
weekend.
What'd you call her?
Sithla.
Sithla.
Yeah, so this is something cool. I mean, I could brag about this all day. He is, Anthony Daniels, the C-3PO, is by far, and people always say, oh, no, it's Mark Hamill. There's no way. Mostly because people don't recognize his face. He is a fan favorite. Every single morning, he walked up and down the aisles taking pictures with anybody. Just, you know,
That's
being
awesome.
friendly, posing. It's fantastic. Lila took 2 selfies with him in 2 days. And just had a lot of fun. Just loved everything. That guy. This is why I was pissed I didn't have a Media Melts on Mouthcast or an Infinity flag to hold in front of it because he
that's
was
cool.
holding up and posing with logos. What a cool guy.
Yeah, that's
So
really cool.
he was-
so
a
it's
huge
a Star
favorite.
Wars celebration tradition that he walks every big line and takes
Oh,
pictures
really?
with people. Yeah, he does it all the time.
Oh,
that's
that's
his thing.
awesome.
Yeah.
But that
Well,
you
he's
know
done
that,
really cool.
He's done it since like Celebration 4, I think.
Well, I started at Celebration this weekend, so this was my first. Yeah, this is my first and last celebration, so this is where I take it. So
That's cool.
So all right, why is that, Steve? Give us while I'm going through these photos.
I'll tell you why, and this is why Logan should have a Disney show. He should have a Star Wars. Look at her right there. I'm telling you, when she took every selfie and when she took that picture, she had like 500 people just crowding her, applauding, and she got wicked shy when she was done
Oh.
because she was the center of attention for 4 seconds. It was hilarious.
That's amazing.
This is why, because I went to Comic-Con 2 years in a row. I met this one cool person at one of them that made it worthwhile. But the rest of it was,
Right.
it's a lot of lines and a lot of getting in line and waiting for one entire thing and devoting your day to one thing. And I don't really care about one thing that much. So when it came to this, I was dedicated to a few things. I really wanted to see the opening ceremonies. I wanted to go see all the Rebel stuff, and I really wanted to see Gareth Edwards' Rogue One panel. If you're not involved in that, it's sort of a Mod Podge mess.
Yeah.
So really, it's like I've seen the floor. I've seen what vendors look like on the floor before, and while I'm impressed at their dedication to the craft and to what you can articulate a stormtrooper or a Mandalorian outfit out of nothing, I'm blown away by the dedication some of these people have. I don't think I would ever go again, just because it's a whole lot of running to get to the next spot and wait.
Yeah.
So there were a few things that we saw this weekend that were exclusive, and one of them I took on video, and it still hasn't been taken down on YouTube, which I'm really pumped about.
Literally, it's still the only place I've seen on the internet of its existence.
Look it up right now, and it's still just mine. We have like 1,200 views as of just an hour ago, and it's pretty fantastic. And something along those lines is really exciting to me because it's something that you couldn't see. So here's how it broke down. Well, we spent the night in front of the theater, in the waiting line. It was Lila and our 2 friends and I, and we waited. My best friend Jason came in from out of town. Another Jason and I and his daughter came with us. We waited to go see the opening panel. Of course, they showed the trailer for The Force Awakens, which is one of the most amazing trailers I've ever seen, showing Chewie and Han at the end saying we're home. I'm not gonna lie, it brought tears to my eyes twice. They showed it
Wow.
twice in a row, and each time I was choked up. And I'm not even remotely as big of a fan as Logan or most of the people in this thing, and it still brought me to my knees. It was the most perfect trailer I've ever seen in my entire life. It was flawless, and it hit everybody so well that there are already shirts that you can buy that say "Chewie, we're home." It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's taken over, and it's such a great line, and it moved everybody. But the weird thing was, we spent the night in front of this place to get in here, and we had excellent seats. So we're watching this, and Sarah's texting me. She goes, "I'm so pissed I can't be here." And I'm like, "Well, here's the link, or find the link." She goes, "Oh, I have a 10-second delay of seeing exactly what you're seeing." So when the trailer came out, she was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." I'm like, "So really? I don't really know." It was fun to be in that room and hear
Right.
everybody lose their minds over that trailer. And to see J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy talk about where we're going in the Star Wars world. But at the same time, it was like, she almost got the same experience watching it from her iPad at school. And that kind of, made me think, I don't know if I would...
I think it's different, though. I would rather be there to say, like, I was one of the people that was in person who saw it, was one of the few people that saw it in person. That's like seeing Star Wars at the premiere for the first time. You say you're there, but, it's completely different watching it in an iPad when someone's actually at the experience, watching people throw their lightsabers in the air, which I thought was
I agree
cool.
completely. It's just one of those things where it's just like, wow, she literally had a 10-second delay on seeing exactly what I just saw, except she got to see it in 1080p on her iPad widescreen, and I had to listen to people hooting and hollering over every bit.
I had the YouTube app pulled up on my Xbox on my 60-inch television, so I got to watch it, on my TV.
Logan, you appreciate my position here, right? It's slightly different than being there.
But at the same time, I remember being in that room, 2 years ago at D23, whenever I got to see Idina Menzel sing "Let It Go" for the first time, and they didn't stream that, but I have a feeling that D23 this year might go the same route as this and start streaming everything, because it's held at the exact same convention center, and stuff like that.
Did you see the amount of views that it got? The amount of views blew their mind. They said on Sunday that it was double the amount they thought they had the bandwidth for, which meant people were having to restream it 20 minutes later. In theory, it broke their servers.
Yeah.
So... to get a message out, whether it's a trailer or just a visual something, and reach that many people, I think that the way that you're going to see it is the way that we just saw it this weekend.
What was it, Friday they announced the Battlefield, like the Battlefield panel or something like that?
Yes.
Will was, I don't know, you were at work, I was at home, and one of our mutual friends, we were all trying to watch the panel live because they were streaming it, and right when they started the trailer, technical difficulties comes across YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
So I assume, Will, you guys have all seen the trailer by now, and it was fantastic. It was moving. Hearing JJ and Kathleen Kennedy speak about it was great, and it was awesome. But I was really pumped to hear what else was going to go on this weekend, and that's where I was really impressed, because the rest of the things that we saw weren't available for people at home. And I was excited about that, because that's one of the things where I agree with you wholeheartedly. You kind of have to be there for, because you can read people's reviews, but watching the first 48 minutes of Rebels Season 2 or seeing Gareth Edwards talk about, oh, we don't have anything prepared because we haven't filmed. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we do have something. And then everything goes dark. And then, bam, you get to see the Rogue One teaser trailer, which is, I would tell you, one of the most exciting moments I saw. To me, it was more exciting than the Force Awakens one, just because they were completely unprepared for all that stuff.
I was pretty surprised by it. I was quite surprised, because I didn't have a sizzle reel like they did.
See, walking into this, you can
I feel like they had to, you cannot go to that and have a panel and not show something.
We've seen,
but they didn't even cast it yet.
Here's the
exactly right. That's exactly what he talked about too. When they said, like, we didn't even start. We kind of did this real quick. I forget what he said about it. He said, thanks to the people at ILM, we got to put together something based on what I want the film to look like. Yeah, so it's almost like a teaser for himself too, for what it's
really, really is. So, Will, is it all right to jump into this, or do you want to?
Yeah.
you want to show it? So when we went to go see the, oh, go ahead.
Rogue One, is that what you're talking about?
Yep. Yeah, since we're sort of segued into that.
Yeah, there's not really a spoiler alert that's needed for that. I will not play it, though, in case people don't want to see it. But what I will do is I'm looking up your Media Meltdown YouTube, and I'm going to post it in the chat for anyone who wants to see it. So go ahead.
Sounds good. So you knew exactly as Logan said, and what I had said the night before was, I'm curious to see what happens in this, because it was supposed to be the writer who, Josh Trank, who wrote Looper, and Gareth Edwards. And they announced the morning of when he came in that Josh Trank wasn't going to be able to be there. He had an illness.
Or something like that, yeah.
He wasn't going to be able to show up, so it was just Gareth Edwards. So Gareth Edwards is sitting on a stage with Kathleen Kennedy and the lady whose name slips my head, CC something, who runs Lucasfilm today. And he just starts talking about what they're doing. And the guy that's... too. And the host starts talking about, now listen, the whole point of this is to debunk a lot of the rumors, and we're going to shut down a lot of speculation about what's going to happen in Rogue One. The first, quote-unquote, and I'm going to say it now because at this point we didn't know, it's called a spin-off film, which does, in my opinion, play into the Infinity World, and I'll relay this later in my thoughts where this could play. You know, it's not unrelated.
But now they have they actually have a terminology instead of spin-off.
It is now not. It's called the Anthology, the Rogue One Anthology, and so they broke that news right away, and they showed the logo, Rogue One Anthology, which is great because if you know what that means, you know that it could mean many different things. Well, then Gareth Edwards came out, and Gareth Edwards is the director of Godzilla and Monsters, 2 films that I think are spectacular and have a lot of personal storytelling, and I think that he's a great storyteller. What they did was they said, would you like to talk to people about where we're at in the timeline? And he said, sure, I'll tell you if it's okay. And everyone is hooting and hollering, freaking out. And he goes, it takes place between episodes 3 and 4. And the storyline is Rogue One is about a group of people that are rebels with no force power. No one's got the force. It's just the people trying to steal the plans for the Death Star and get back in sort of motion of what's going on. Then he goes, oh, by the way, we may have something for you, and showed the teaser trailer.
That's so cool.
Which is fantastic. So you get the idea that this next film is going to be very gritty, very, I would quote unquote say dark, because you're talking about people. You're not talking about Jedis fighting other Jedi masters. It's going to be about people building this thing. And so the one person that they have cast is Felicity Jones, who's fantastic. And a lot of people had rumored that she might be Sabine from the Rebels thing because the timeline is the same. And she's a very underrated character that might be one of these people. That was shut down completely. She is just one of a bunch of different Rebel soldiers that are fighting or starting the rebellion against the Empire. So that means that she's not a Boba Fett, what are they called? Mandalorian. She's not like who she is. So that means that she's not going to be Sabine. So, you know, we get to see that now. And then they showed that teaser trailer, which I'll describe in 40 seconds. Camera starts down looking at a ravine of trees. And you hear Obi-Wan from episode 4, A New Hope, talking about the dark side and a good time before there was the dark side and what people had to do. And the camera zooms up. And when you first see it, you just see the outline of a planet, just like you see our own moon, you know, in the daytime sort of horizon. The camera pans up, and then you see that horizon on the sideline is not actually a planet. It is the Death Star in full daylight. You don't know what that means. Is that where they're building it? What does that mean? You don't really know, but it's an amazing, stunning visual. And then the camera goes dark. You see the logo Rogue One come up, and then it's just static and radio screaming, breaking up transmissions, which leaves you kind of scary. It's a scary sort of visual of, you know, whatever, and it just cuts dead and it says December of 2016. So it was a fantastic visual. I'm glad that I got it on video at the end. They showed it twice in a row. Then they finished the interview, and then at the end they showed it one more time while people were standing up and leaving. So I was like, screw this, I'm going to film this right now because no security guard is going to see me now. They're making sure that people don't leave through exit A, they're leaving through exit B. So I got it there. So if you guys want to check it out, you can see it there. But it's fantastic, and it leaves a lot of space open to one of the other days that we had Saturday, which was full of Rebels stuff. And Logan, I don't know if you follow the Rebels plot line like we do. We've seen every episode and thought it was fantastic. If we're talking Infinity, let me crowbar Infinity into this rant here. If you're going to do that, I think this is where it comes into play. Because every single person in that place. I'm talking the whole floor, every room on Saturday and Sunday was there for Rebels. It was an unbelievable amount of Rebels fans. When you talked and they showed the teaser trailer for season 2 and you brought in Clone Wars characters, and I'm not going to spoil that. If you want to, go look for it, but there are major characters from Clone Wars that people thought were dead maybe that are back in season 2 of Rebels. And if you are going to launch an Infinity anything, I think that the Rebels franchise is a very good starting place, just because is uncountable. So many people there were in cosplay, wearing Rebel shirts. The line was so big that we couldn't even meet the characters. It was so long that they said, if you line up here, you may not make it, and the convention closes at this date. So we just left. Yeah. Logan, did you see any of that stuff? Because we saw the premiere and all that stuff. It was fantastic.
The one thing I wanted to see, obviously, is the premiere, and they didn't air that for obvious reasons. And I think that's the one thing I truly missed that I would want to see. Dave Filoni, it does an amazing job with both Clone Wars and
Filoni.
Yeah,
Dave
you screwed
Filoni
that up on the Mousecast. I watched.
Yeah, I forget his name. I knew it was something Aloni, something like that.
He's the director, by the way, not just some guy who works with the Star Wars people.
I didn't even say some guy. I said he wrote it and created a lot of that stuff.
All of it.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He comes out with this cowboy hat, and everybody flips out and all that stuff.
So in the last 20 minutes you were ranting, I took some notes.
It's like the Clone Wars, Mouse Looks versus Mousecast. I don't really focus on the Star Wars. Anyway, go ahead. Let Logan go.
So Rogue One it seems like it's based off of one line that Mon Mothma says in A New Hope whenever they're kind of in the briefing, whenever they attack on the Death Star. She says a lot of Bothans have died to bring us this information, and they're showing the plans of the Death Star. So Rogue One is those Bothans fighting and trying to get the Death Star plans.
What's a Bothan? What is?
You'll find out when you watch Rogue One.
Okay.
But and then
let's
also
talk later.
whenever you crowbarred the whole Disney Infinity bit into this, don't worry. I'm working on a special presentation of Inside Infinity where all we're going to do is talk about who do we want to see in Disney Infinity from the Star Wars universe, and they are on the top of my list.
I'm telling you, Logan, you're kind of making fun of me, but I'll be serious.
No, I'm not making fun of you at all.
If you're okay, so let's go back to 1.0. Jason, you remember this vaguely, right?
Jason, wake up.
Jay, wake up.
Sorry.
There's a place that has 3 different worlds, right? In my opinion, if this is released in September, the only way to do this would have one of those worlds as the Rebel world. And if you follow Rebels, as Logan is just saying right now, it's in a very similar timeline as Rogue One. So the characters are already very similarly designed to Infinity characters. It's not going to take a whole lot to make an Ezra or a Sabine or a Hera and character. It's going to be very similar, and people are going to love it. And I'm telling you, being there on that ground floor, people freaking love Rebels. They love it. Now, I will say from a personal point of view, we've loved it since the beginning, but I don't know. I don't ever talk to anyone else that likes Star Wars that's seen Rebels. When you go to a place like this and you see the overwhelming just Rebels demand, you'd be dumb not to have Rebels as a part of this whole thing. It's on Disney XD. The characters are family friendly. They have humor. It's fantastic. I'm telling you, if Rebels isn't a part of 3.0, then they've missed the boat in a large way.
I'm willing to put a lot of money that Rebels is going to be in 3.0.
Thank you. Okay, good.
I mean, aesthetically alone, they match. I mean, the aesthetics of the show to me don't seem like they're too far away from.
Although
like
if you've seen the
characters.
Yeah.
If you've seen the 2.0 trailer, it does. I mean, 2.0. Listen, the season 2 trailer of Rebels, it looks like it's getting a lot darker. But yes, I agree. The season 1 cast, the main cast, perfect fit for this. And Ahsoka Tano better be in there too, by the way.
That's the one.
Who?
Yeah, people lose their minds when she walks on.
Ahsoka Tano, she was Anakin Skywalker's apprentice in the Clone Wars. Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Nobody knows what happens to Ahsoka. And then I'm not going to spoil it. Stopping there.
Okay.
Yep, I don't want to spoil.
So
Rebels.
you're right. I kind of just overstepped you by talking. But you know what?
No,
This
it's okay.
season ended a month and a half ago. So if you haven't caught up, just catch up really fast, please. But
I'm
I'm,
so
honestly,
I'm,
privileged.
I've been saving the last episode because I don't want it to end.
the last
Oh,
episode is one of the best episodes, and we watch lots of TV from Breaking Bad to Game of Thrones to everything. I'm telling you that
Family-friendly
last
stuff.
yeah, exactly. That last episode of Rebels is
Nice save.
one of the best half hours of TV I've
Wow.
ever seen. They cram
Wow.
a lot of fan stuff in there without going overboard. And one of the things they said in the panel was the next episode, the next season of Rebels, they don't want to do too many guest appearances. They don't want it to rely on who's going to be next. They
Yeah.
have strong enough characters. And if you know the plotline, you know that Kanan is a strong enough character in his own. He's a fallen sort of rebel. He doesn't fit into the group. He
He's
kind of left.
great character. He has a comic
He's
book and a
fantastic.
novel based on him alone.
Absolutely, Logan, you're right, and that's the thing that makes it so interesting is because this plotline it involves a lot of different sort of, I don't know, I guess you could say timelines. You've got the hardcore, you're all the way a Jedi or you're not, and he kind of falls in the middle, and it makes it interesting. And when you bring in Infinity to it, I think that all of these characters, and as we just saw recently, maybe all of the Inside Out characters could be coming. I don't think that leaving out any of the Rebels characters I think leaving out any of them is a really poor decision because all of them are integral to a story. And if we're talking Star Wars, Rebels needs to be an intricate part because you can tell from this that Lucas and Disney they're banking on it. They've laid down that this is where they're going to take the non-cinema route, and this is going to be their big budget thing. And if you're not involved in Rebels, then you're missing out on a major storyline and a lot of really good characters.
That's awesome.
Logan, you agree, right?
Absolutely, and they have at least right now, and in the future, there's probably going to be more, but at least two great, strong female leads.
Two. In Rebels is all about three.
Right now, because they just announced Ahsoka, so we have Sabine and Hera.
And Ahsoka.
And then Ahsoka is
Yes.
going to eventually mix in. So yeah.
And then when you look at, this is one of the things that people always bring up, and I don't laugh in a negative way. I laugh because, to me, in my eyes, as a Disney fan since a little kid, Disney's always been about female leads.
Mhm.
From the beginning of princess films and all this other stuff. You look at this now, the main character in Rogue One is a female, a Oscar nominee female. You look at the trailer for A Force Awakens, and it looks to me like the future of the franchise is based off of a black guy, a black male from the UK, and a female. To me, it's just like the times of it being, we don't have enough female stuff. It's over. The Star Wars thing is very based on that, and just watching Rebels alone, the females are the best part. Hera is fantastic. It's great. Sabine alone is worth watching because you don't really know what's going on with that character. They've done a very good job. And I really think that the future of this is very diverse and fun for everybody to watch. Little girls are a plethora of Sabine costumes over there and Hera costumes. I think it's a great thing to see. And if you're skipping out on that, you're missing out on a big market. I don't know how else to say it without sounding like a jerk. That's how it goes. I think that's how it goes.
So let me ask you this. Earlier in the show, you said that of all the trailers, you thought that there were only 3 big ones or something like that. When I'm ranking the trailers, obviously Force Awakens was number 1 because that was phenomenal, beyond phenomenal. But the season 2 of Rebels was my second favorite trailer released, even more so than Battlefront or the sizzle reel from Rogue One. I don't know how a lot of people.
Is it okay to rant on trailers for a second?
Sure.
Okay.
You can take notes for your show.
Yeah, Sarah, keep them in check.
I will tell you, in my ranking, the Force Awakens trailer is one of the greatest trailers I've ever seen in my entire life. I love trailers. Most of the time, I like trailers more than I like the films because you're seeing a mixture of 2 different things. You're seeing a mixture of filmmaking and a mixture of marketing. Those are my 2 favorite things since I was a little kid. You have to sell someone on seeing this without giving too much of the story. In the past couple of years, you've seen an abundance of filmmakers giving up way too much story in a trailer and giving up way too much. So that being said, the Force Awakens trailer may be my favorite teaser trailer of all time. It pays tribute to the fans. It pays tribute to new people like Lila that are little, that don't appreciate the 30 years that you've spent, invested in this thing. Now, she loves these things, and even she was like a little bit balled up when she saw Chewie and Han. Right. So you know that anyone seeing Chewie, we're home at the end of a trailer is going to be moved. So something like that is an artistic, just, I hate to say it because it sounds cheesy, just beauty. It's just flawless storytelling. And to get people involved and to get an audience riled up, there's no better way than Chewie, we're home. Now, other than that, the teaser trailer for Rebels Season 2 may be flawless. And the reason that you don't understand is because you weren't there, but I'll tell you not to be a jerk. It sounds awful, but almost, I would say 80% of what you saw in that teaser trailer that you saw at 3.5 minutes was in the first 2 episodes of Rebels.
I figured
of course, yeah, they're not going to show the finale in the trailer, or else it's going to be awful. But the first, couple minutes that you're in there, you're like, oh, this is all the stuff that we just saw. So that trailer is fantastic. And if you've seen that trailer, I don't know, Will, I don't know if you can post a link to it or whatever, but the Rebels Season 2, and it's on high def. They've released it publicly, the trailer.
Star Wars YouTube channel.
You're seeing a lot of Darth Vader. You're seeing a lot of dark fighting going on, and we saw the first hour or the first 44 minutes. It's different than the first season. Is a lot more, I don't want to say violence in a negative way, but there's a lot of tension. And you, at the very end, you get the idea that Darth Vader's not just a plug to get people involved. They're handing it off to another Inquisitor, which you get in the trailer, who's going to be the antagonist for the entire season. But I'm telling you that it's going to be fantastic. The trailer itself was great and really, really deserves to be recognized. And if you're looking at Infinity, there's nothing more tailor-made for a video game than the Rebels franchise. And these characters are flawless to drop down on your playset and play.
I agree. They're, like you said, they're preloaded. Just literally go to Lucasfilm or whatever, get the digital file of their 3D, plug it into a 3D printer, print them out, put them on a base, send them to me.
It's the one thing that doesn't need to be... Will, we've talked about this before. Infinity characters have an Infinity spin on them, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's got, Sully and Mike, and everyone, even though they're one-dimensional, like, how one-dimensional does Mike Wazowski get? He's a round ball with teeth, But when you put him down and you see him, he has an Infinity tone to him. They've angled him and lighted him in a specific way. If you are going to take one franchise and make it look good for Infinity, Rebels is just, it's tailor-made. So if you're going to bring Star Wars to the Infinity world, which we're hoping is going to happen, one of the ways to do it would be to bring Rebels into it, not just because the fantastic, fan base that loves this show and where it can go in the future, just the characters itself would look great to drop down.
Absolutely. Florida Gator in the chat is saying, "Preach, Steve C, preach."
What does that mean? Am I talking?
No. He's saying
he's
Rebels.
agreeing with everything you're saying. Yeah.
All right, good.
Baroness is saying Rebels characters are already the look.
They already are. If you look at the way that their hair is designed, Ezra's got that blue hair and it's like in clumps, kind of thing. It's not strands of hair. It's big, like clay-like clumps.
Yeah. So I noticed her hair changed, by the way. From season 1 to season 2.
Yeah, I'm glad you just mentioned that. I don't want to get too nitpicky, but yeah, you're right.
Lauren is saying that she hopes Rebels are not going to overtake the Star Wars figures.
Logan and I are probably going to go about the same thing here. Rebels is a new thing, and it's a developing thing, and you're never going to take a developing character or a Disney Channel show that's ever going to overtake A New Hope or any of those characters. You're never going to see an AT-AT, in Rebels overtake what was originally done. I think, which is why I was pointing out to Jason earlier, if you're going to take 3 different worlds, I think Rebels is a good world, but it's never going to overtake the original trilogy, ever. It's never going to do it. In my opinion, if you have a Hoth playset it will be the most
Yeah.
played playset ever. And then if you have a Rebels playset, it'll be another one. And then if you have a Force Awakens playset, that's 1, 2, 3, and you're covering a lot of different angles. The new, the old, and the universally accepted Rebels, which is, you can see now, is a big thing. But no way, she's right. There's no way it's going to overtake, and there's no comparison. Logan,
But
Force
also in the
Clone
world
Wars-
of Disney Infinity, if we're thinking about it, in 2.0 we had almost 20 Marvel characters, and there's
yeah.
maybe 5 or 6 Rebels main characters that I would consider putting in the game. So it still leaves you 15 more characters from the rest of the universe.
Absolutely.
If we're comparing apples to apples here.
Will, how many Incredibles characters did we have?
5? No, 6?
5, exactly,
5?
right? Yeah, you can do that in this
Yeah,
world.
5.
Totally.
And be completely happy. You're not hearing people going, hey, why aren't there more Incredibles characters?
Yeah.
Why isn't Jack a character? It's one of those things that it works out just fine. If you take the template from 1.0 and put it into Star Wars, it works just fine.
Totally.
Rebels works as a 5-person playset, the main characters, and then if you wanted to add an Inquisitor or even Darth Vader, I doubt that they would add Darth Vader into this playset. You could add 4 and it works just fine. You're not
He
going to
could be a
overshadow.
crossover character. Let's not rule that out.
See, exactly. That's where we're at, get those coins, baby.
Yeah.
So that's, one of those things. It's just interesting to see, and seeing where season 2 is going lends a lot more to the world of Star Wars that we're used to, because you're getting
Right.
a lot more Vader, a lot more, developing characters and all this other stuff.
I totally agree with all of the above.
Well, that's kind of a good place to kind of wrap up. We are going to have another big Star Wars discussion in 2 weeks. We are broadcasting on May the 4th, and actually Lauren Mighty Jidis is going to be on that episode. We also have we have a few other people. Pirate Steve's jumping on that show. So we're by all means not done talking Star Wars, but I do want to hear, Sarah, we didn't get to hear, so you showed up a little bit late. I want to hear your thoughts about the show a little bit before we kind of end things.
Yeah, I got there at Saturday night, so I missed all the cool, crazy stuff, but I did get to see the Rogue One trailer, which I thought was, freaking amazing. I watched the Force Awakens trailer on my tiny iPad while I was sitting in cosmetology school, just watching all the girls. So I have my friend Audrey to my right, and she knows that he's away, and I was like, yeah, they're at the Star Wars thing, and I'm watching it. And I was like, oh, they're playing the trailer right now. I'm like, this is a really big deal. And I found out she has never watched Star Wars before.
Wow.
She knows nothing. And I'm like, this is a really big deal. She goes, oh, okay, that's cool. And I'm like, okay, never mind. And I don't do my nails at all. I'm not really a nail person, but I got her to do Stormtrooper on my nail.
Epic.
And I had to I gave her a picture, and she had no idea what they looked like, and she kept looking at it and trying to copy it. But it was really cool. I got there at Saturday night, like around at 11, and I was all excited because I wanted to see what it looked like. And I've been to Comic-Con for 4 years at San Diego, so I was curious to see what the Anaheim convention was kind of like. And it's smaller, and there's a lot less people, and it's interesting seeing a convention that's based on one topic, like Star Wars, opposed to like movies and games and all that. And they actually had a gaming booth for Last of Us and Portal, and I was really confused, and I was like, hey, this is where I am. So but it was cool.
One of our favorite things was the cosplay mixing characters. So the Wolverine Boba Fett, and
there was a Mulan
Tinker
Jedi.
Fett, exactly.
A
The
Mulan
Jedi.
Of all Disney princesses, they chose Mulan. I
That's
thought that was awesome.
Because the Jedis were actually George Lucas designed them after samurai soldiers. Their costumes are very samurai-like, so that Mulan actually makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It was just funny to see them. You saw Tinker Fett, this girl in a Tinkerbell outfit
awesome.
with a Mandalorian helmet and a tutu.
I didn't get to see that, but that
you
was
see all that, and she found us on Instagram.
I saw a Sorcerer Mickey Stormtrooper picture posted by D23, and also
that's fantastic.
Who else? Because he had like the big, fluffy sack red dress, but then he had like the Sorcerer Mickey Stormtrooper helmet. It was pretty cool.
Well, when we were in line, I told you we met some Infinity fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're waiting, and they start talking about you guys like Infinity? Because we sort of mentioned the leak that was there, because all of us were sort of talking about it, and I had the picture on my phone, and they were like, can I ask you a question? You know, are you guys know Infinity? I'm like, do I know Infinity? I'm on a show about Infinity. It's called Disney Infinity TV. Of course, so I'm plugging it the entire time. Well, anyway, the dad starts going, we're huge fans. What's the thing? And I showed him on my phone, and we talked for a little while, and he goes, I know that show. I've watched it twice. Will is the guy. I'm like, exactly right. Will is the
I didn't hear you
host.
say that.
So we started talking about it, and there's a unanimous sort of feeling that if they miss the boat on this one, it could be the end, because their kids are very excited about the Lego portals, and people aren't going to be, they're not going to be able to afford both. I don't
Yeah.
think so. So I'm telling you, based on what this raw sort of, fan footage, I guess you could say, with people in line, this whole family was like, we're very excited about the Lego one, unless you can tell us something cool. Really? I'm like, I would tell you it might be in the future. And they were like, well, that would be different. That's what I want for my birthday. And it's like, all right, well, that's cool. Maybe hold your breath for another few months and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, there's a strong group of people out there that want more. They definitely want more. And
Yeah, his son, who's probably like 11, was like getting really passionate. He goes, "They better do Rebels. They better do Rebels. I want a Rebels."
That's
yeah,
awesome.
He's got like his flat brim cap on. He's like, "You better do Rebels."
He
He's
did
getting
have
really
the-
upset about it.
he did have the whole like hardcore
Yeah, like
flat
skater
kid. Yeah, if we
thing.
don't get Rebels, we're not gonna play anymore.
it
So it
was
was like, whoa, okay, we got you, we get
Whoa.
you. You want your Sabina, we got you. So I'm telling you, if they miss this one, I don't want to say I'm fearful, but they may miss a whole target audience,
I
because
agree.
They'll pull a Frozen. where
this
they
is
don't
a
do
Yeah.
Frozen.
this is a
Right.
group of people that
Yeah.
don't represent a group. This is a group of people that just love the game, and we're excited to find other people that love the game as well. And it just so happened to have a screenshot of what might be coming in the future. So they were very excited, but I'm telling you, if they miss the boat on this one, it makes me nervous, because they were telling me that if it's not good, then they're going all the way to Lego.
Yeah.
And when you look at Lego, they have a very competitive market, and it makes me, this is the one thing that we talk about on our Mousecast show. Logan, you're welcome anytime, because you know what you're talking about.
Awesome.
Enough of the talking crap here. I'm going to be serious. You know your stuff. One of the
Thanks.
things that drives business today is competition, right?
Absolutely.
If you don't have good competition, you're not going to get good products. So if Lego doesn't exist, and if Lego Portals isn't bringing people over, then honestly, Infinity might be slacking. So what we want to see is a very good balance of Lego's offering a lot of really, they have Ghostbusters and Back to the Future, in their thing.
Yep.
We need to top that and hopefully get something that's going to drag people over from both sides, because it's an expensive hobby. And if you're gonna do it, I want you to do it. And
It's a
hopefully-
very expensive hobby, and I think I've told the guys here in our little chat, the only thing that would pull me to Lego Dimensions from Disney Infinity is if they did the one thing that put Lego on the map to begin with, and that was Lego Star Wars, which probably wouldn't happen because of licensing, but that would be the one straw that breaks the camel's
See,
back for me.
you're 100% right, and that's the one thing that most people talk about is Lego Star Wars. It's fantastic. The shows are funny and all this other stuff. So this is where you get into this weird territory of, in the
Right.
next few months, who's going to announce what first, what's going to happen, and who's going to capitalize on this. And I hope that Infinity is where we take it, because this is my thing. And I Will, you and I talked off air about this. I'm gonna get the Lego one, because I really love Lego Movie. But honestly, I don't think I'm gonna be getting a lot of their stuff. It's gonna be mostly just for 2 platforms. I hope that they do it. And after this weekend of seeing what they have in store, I think that they have the enough quote unquote material to go forward and do it. So
2 things on this. The Baroness89 in the chat is saying Lego's not a threat unless they have a build/toy box mode. So a lot of our listeners are toy box builders, and so
That's a good
that's
point.
something that's very important to them.
that's a huge point.
But Jason and I, we constantly behind the scenes are having conversation about the direction of Infinity and kind of how we can meet the needs of our audience based on the shows and other things, and we're both kind of in agreement that Star Wars is their chance. And not only that, I think Disney Infinity recognizes their past mistakes, and they also recognize that they do have to deliver this next go around, or they will be punished. And Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, if you do not agree with that sentiment, but I don't know. I think 3.0 is going to be a big deal for them, and I think it's a really appropriate timing for it to be Star Wars, because that opens up the audience, dare I say, even more so than Marvel.
I think the fact that we didn't get a trailer on this weekend is them being uber confident that I think they know that they've got a winning product. Because if you don't have to capitalize on that massive audience that are watching it, I think it's the right decision. I think they would have got not blown away, but I think all eyes were on the Battlefront trailer as far as games are concerned, and I think it was the right move not to display a trailer there. And I think they realize it's bigger than Ben-Hur, and I think they know that it needs its own spotlight. So
yeah,
I think that's why we don't see it.
But also at the same time, at Star Wars Celebration, they had bigger fish to fry. Every day was a new trailer of some sort, a new unboxing, if you will, of something brand new for Star Wars fans. And I mean, you notice the rest of the just kept their mouths shut that entire weekend. You heard nothing from Age of Ultron. You've heard nothing from Inside Out. You've heard nothing from everything else, and all we got was some Tomorrowland posters. That's it. Everyone else knew that our whole company spotlight is right here, right now. And I think, Disney Infinity falls into that. Like, you'll get your chance, but we have to really show off our best feature right now.
Which I think they're in the position to do. So give them their time to do it. And Will, you said before, wouldn't this have been the 1 year announcement before they announced 2.0? So you're talking, there's no way that they're going to wait until D23. There's just no way. You're going to wait until August. There's physically no way you can do that marketing wise.
No. 2 years ago at D23 is whenever they announced the final lineup. We had already seen trailer after trailer.
Thank you. That's exactly my point. Is there's no way you can wait that long.
Right.
So you got to think that at this point something is going to come out eventually. And I question. Jason, you and I had this conversation before in depth. Are leaks ever intentional? And I'm more of the conspiracy theory that thinks there's something behind leaks. Now, in this case, I don't think that it was. But I will tell you, coincidentally, it would help them stay not number one, but at least number 2 or 3 on the Google list if you're going to look them up, which is always good. And if you're going to release those characters and then you're going to announce Star Wars in the future, you're going to blow people away. And Battlefront is a very unique game. Am I correct here, Logan? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to admit that I know what I'm talking about. Is Battlefront not a online only game?
It will be.
Technically, no.
Technically, no, but it's
intended to be.
Fully intended to be online only.
Well, explain it. Is there not storylines or what?
There's no storyline. There's no linear finish this level kind of deal. But you can do offline multiplayer. So technically, no, if you want to work your way around it. But it's fully intended to be online multiplayer.
Okay. So different than Infinity, where the playsets are based 100% on offline, just families playing on their own, Battlefront has its own sort of niche market, right? I mean, that's sort of
a niche market, but
well, it is. It's the online market. It's different than a base. I can't play the.
I mean, the number one.
No. Niche just means its own separate market. You can't play The Last of Us online. You can't join up with anybody else.
Different target audiences.
Yeah, niche. I just mean separate. I'm sorry. I probably used a bad term, but separate market. Online versus console only. And we Sarah and Lila play The Last of Us all the time. That's not an online game at all. So that's what I meant. I didn't mean to use the wrong term.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Which would mean that Infinity, if it was going to crowbar in, would crowbar into that market in general, just because you can play it on your own. If you were going to have play sets, it's a playset driven thing, and not everyone wants to play with 12-year-olds cussing you out for not missing your mark and flanking at the wrong time. And being, scolded by a 9-year-old from Wisconsin yelling at you for missing your grenade mark. It's one
You're
of those things
describing
where
my game time with Will, man.
that's my whole
It's true,
point.
except I'm the
Will's
kid from
aggressive.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. So that's once again why I think Infinity appeals to so many different families. And I don't think Infinity's ever been marketed to adults only. Battlefront to me seems like it's a kind of universal. I would love Lila to play Battlefront. She saw the trailer. She was excited for it. She loves all these games. She's pretty good at The Last of Us, and I think she'd be great at it, but she loves Infinity because of the open market and how to play it offline. Yeah. And that's where I think that we can strike and sort of take over part of that. Now, maybe not the same weekend as the Battlefront is announced, but maybe in the short future we'll see something.
So some people in the chat are saying May the 4th would be the teaser. Star Wars weekend would be the announcement. A Star Wars weekend. That matches up perfectly with last year. Last year was April 30th. We got the teaser, I believe. Either the teaser or the announcement was April 30th last year.
But here's the thing. Last year they started off with a Disney teaser and then had Captain America's shield at the end, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, right? It was Captain America's shield.
Yeah.
It was
at
a full Disney and then boom.
True.
Oh, hey, look, Marvel.
It's true.
So I'd like to see May the 4th be it. And then also, I think the fans in the chat room are kind of cheating with the Star Wars weekend because that spans 5 weeks. It's a bit of a range.
But no,
hope that it's announced sometime in the next 12 months. Yes.
But isn't the first Star Wars weekend, isn't the weekend of May the 4th or no?
May the 4th is when it kicks off, right?
Okay.
So something like that, mid-May through early June.
So
it's Pirate Steve when we need him. Bump Logan and put Pirate Steve in here.
Last year they did the teaser a week before. So if they did it on Monday, May the 4th, then that would line up perfectly for the announcement to be that weekend or the following weekend.
But would they announce it at Disney? Like, I don't know, or why does it have to coordinate with
I'll tell you what, you want a lot of people. I mean, now, to your point, they didn't announce 2.0 in front of a large group audience, right? It was all of a sudden my Twitter and Facebook exploded.
No, it was a lot of press they invited to a special theatrical event with Agent Coulson.
Here's my quick 20-second opinion. I'll make it fast. And Sarah's laughing at me because I can make it 20 seconds. Marvel spans a massive, massive amount of people. Characters, plot lines, storylines. It spreads out to Deadpool territory. Where's Lem? There's my Lem, shout out. So it spans out really far. Star Wars is
multi-dimensional, like there are parallel dimensions and stuff.
100%, dude. It spans out all over. Mm-hmm. Star Wars is a very small, one-dimensional timeline. You get all this stuff. If you're going to announce,
small, but it's one-dimensional.
You know what I mean? It's small compared to Marvel, right?
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you. Stop correcting me, Logan. Hey, so if you're going to do it, wouldn't it make sense to do it in front of a massive audience that loves your product already?
Sure.
In my opinion, it makes sense. If you're going to announce it, you're going to do it then. Yeah. And I'll be serious. I thought that we were going to get free characters this weekend, and I was pretty pissed when we did it. Because I was going to eBay it to a Will for $220.
That's definitely good. D23 is where you're going to get free figures.
I'll be there with you, Logan. Cutting in front of you in line, baby.
No, you're going to cut Pirate Steven. Last time at D23, he literally stood in the Disney Infinity free figure line the entire weekend.
I will be right behind Pirate Steve, laughing at you in the background.
Little did he know, 6 months later, he could get them all for like $1 each.
For $11.99 this weekend, I would get one free.
So, well, you know what? I guess we don't know, but we do kind of need to wrap things up here. It's gonna happen soon. We know it's gonna happen soon, and we're all gonna be a part of that conversation. We will break down the teaser when it drops, and then we will have healthy discussions with all of our friends on the show as it is announced. But yeah, if it wasn't this weekend, it's got to be really soon because it's got to line up with the previous 2 years, I think.
I say within 2 weeks. It has to come out within 2 weeks.
Sarah and Steve, do you guys want to make a bet? Do you say within 2 weeks or?
Okay, hold on a second. So right now we're at the end of April 20th. So your bet is by what, like May 4th, right? Is that what you're saying? Logan.
I'm doing
Are you paying attention to the show at all? You guys
calendar
always
app.
give me a hard
I'm literally
time.
looking at
Not
the
paying
calendar,
attention.
so I'm not lying. So yeah, I'd say May 4th. Oh God.
I'm gonna tell you, May 4th is where it's at. You know,
because you can see the future, right, Alien?
I will. I will tell you that I will take that bet because I think that in the next few weeks we're gonna get. I can't get it to stop. I'm sorry. Hold on.
So you say within 2 weeks. Sarah, do you agree? Oh.
It's kind of hard to write.
Where's the happy cloud? Will, do you see my eyes at all?
Nope.
Hold on a second. Oh man, this is such a failure.
There you are.
I had the happy cloud. No, I will. There we go. I see happy cloud. You know, we talk about Endor and the Death Star. There's no other way to win it. And talk from the moon. I'm gonna tell you right now. I will bet that we get it in the next. I would say 3 weeks. Let's give him a week.
Okay.
As
A week
the
buffer after
talking
Star Wars
moon.
Celebration.
Look at the moon stick out his tongue. How creepy is this moon face? Jason over on the left is pretending not to be a part of this podcast. He's like, I have better things to do. I have a family of 90 trying to bust into this door right now, and I'm talking to a moon face. Yes, moon face. What's better than a moon? A cloud face. Hello, cloud.
Wow.
Anyway, no, I will tell you, in all honesty, I think that we're talking 2 weeks away. Logan,
Yeah.
there's if you're wasting time at this point, you're just letting other companies take your territory. You got to announce something.
Yeah, they
This
have to
is
play
the
catch up
time
with
for
the whole
those
Lego
announcements.
Dimensions announcement. You know, I'm surprised Skylanders hasn't announced something by now too. To be perfectly honest with you.
Right now.
So Sarah, you agree? Soon?
Yeah.
Real soon?
Yeah, well, everyone is like releasing stuff now, whether it be like movies, like Jurassic World trailer came out, and then the Star Wars obviously came out, and then the Batman versus Superman came out. Now everyone's releasing things. Oh my God, stop, Steve.
There is a fox.
I'm done. Go
Oh
on.
my God.
Jason, do you want to pipe in on when?
I can't make Jason in any characters. Including
Jason just wants to leave. That's what
I'll
he
just
I think
say,
we're
I'll just say
Bulldogs.
soon. Soon.
All right.
Coming soon.
Soon. So before this podcast spirals any more out of animal control, I think we're gonna call it that. You know what, you guys?
Sorry. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Gangster.
Good
Shark.
old fashioned shark face. This is
Let
how
him
you
wrap
need
it
to
up.
close every show. Let him close it. All right, I'll let him
Yes,
close it.
thank you.
This
so-
is why Sarah needs to be on every show. Just yelled at me.
just to reel you in. No, it's really cool that the two of you were there, along with your best friend, right, Steve and Lila. In fact, one last thing I am going to show, because this is just cool, and I didn't see it until I was browsing your pictures tonight. Were you on the news?
Fans, but we're gonna
We
leave
were
you with
definitely on the news. Thank you for bringing that up.
NBC Los Angeles.
Yeah, NBC Los Angeles did a thing in the morning at around 3 a.m. We went to go drop off. They had a weird policy where you had to drop all your stuff off by
Star
like
Wars
4 or
fans, we're
5.
gonna leave you
And
with
they
this.
like get into the parking lot, drop all your stuff off now. So we brought our wagon full of clothes and sleeping bags and all this stuff. And on the way home, you know, back to the convention center, this lady was like, "Do you want to do an interview? You've got a cute kid." I'm like, "Sure, we'll do an interview."
Is that how
And,
she talked?
She did. She had a very
Really
manly
scary
voice. She was like,
voice.
"Do you want to do an interview?"
This is really
Anyway, so
scary.
she kind of like snagged us. I'm like, "Sure, we'll be on the news." And then honestly, right after the Force Awakens trailer, this couple came up to me and they're like, "We see you in the news this morning. We were in our hotel. We saw you lighting up, so we ran out to get in line. We barely made it. You guys did a great news conference." I'm like, "What?" Okay.
That's awesome.
So it was kind of funny. So yes, we were on the news.
I wasn't.
You were not. Oh, sadness.
I mentioned your name, Will. Did you hear it? I was like, "Yeah, welcome to the thing, Will Kelly. Hey, in Inside Infinity, yay!"
But you had to actually play the clip backwards, right, in order to hear that.
Backwards, and
It's a
backwards
little
if you
messy.
play it, it's like wah wah wah. Logan sucks. Ma 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 ma. Jason's God. Ma ma ma. Logan, don't listen to his show.
There's also flashes of the logo.
Yeah, exactly. It pops in front of your
Really
screen.
quick. Probably
That's too awesome. Well, listen, thank you guys for. Well, I mean, you didn't go for us, but thanks for coming on the show and talking to us about Star Wars Celebration, and also for sending. You sent me the clip for Rogue One yesterday, and just kind of keeping us apprised of what was going on. We retweeted and shared some of your stuff over the week, and it was really cool seeing you guys actually live at the event.
It was cool. I'm glad you got to be a part of it. I honestly, I felt like I had to tell you right away because you are a fan of the breaking stuff, and it's cool to see, especially because I snuck my camera right in the end while the ushers were taking people out. I was like, yeah, I'm going to hide the camera on my chest so you can't see the screen.
There's like 5 people doing it.
Yeah, and the whole time Sarah was like, don't do it, you're going to get kicked out. I'm like, who cares? It's over.
And there was like a group of 5 people doing it.
Throw me out. Gareth Edwards just left 5 minutes ago. Who am I going to care to see? This host? I don't give a crap.
What are you going to do? Throw me in Star Wars jail?
What are you going to do? Throw me... You're going to throw me into the, Sarlacc?
The Sarlacc pit.
Sarlacc pit.
So...
confidence in that one.
I don't have any confidence. I'm going to pronounce it.
Can I just say before we close, my favorite part of your coverage of the entire Star Wars stuff was at the end of the day, every day you posted Lila selfies. Best stuff yet.
Lila's selfies took control of the site. She took my phone and just dominated. Now, that was the night that we were in line right there. But other than that, I gave her my phone, and I told her she'd get $1 per selfie, and she just dominated that. Well, that's me.
I didn't see that
Look
one.
at that handsome individual. And that's her, one of the many R2s. And thank you, Logan, for plugging her. She'll be really excited that you mentioned it. But she just took... Now, that girl right there, she is the sexy blue... The blue Jedi that dies in... You can see it right there. That dies in episode
Clone Wars, episode 2.
Yeah, 2. I'm sorry. I apologize. See, Logan is one of those people that, like Jeremiah, that like reins you in. Is like, you said the wrong name, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Anyway, she was fantastic. She was easily one of the best part of the whole thing. She never had a very big line, and she was real cute, and she was fun, and she played games with Lila, and it was great. So if you keep scrolling through, but I mean, Lila was like the selfie master. That stormtrooper didn't know where the camera was, so he was looking over somebody else because she kept on saying like, "Can I take a selfie with you?" And they were like, "What? Yeah, okay, go ahead."
That's awesome.
So I mean, she took a whole lot of selfies, and it was a lot of fun.
So you can just stop saying the blue Jedi lady. Her name is Ayla Sakura. It's spelled Aayla.
Logan, I'm
fact check, man. Fact check
right
city.
now that
That's
I don't
all
know. Fact check the hell out of this. I don't care. I don't really know all these obscure characters. I'm just telling you she's the blue sexy Jedi with the midriff shirt and the great abs. And she was there looking fantastic, so we met her.
Awesome.
Logan.
I love it, man.
Listen up, buddy. She looked great, and she was fun as hell.
I don't disagree. I'm
there
married.
We go.
You're not yet. I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Where were you, Logan? Come out with us next time.
So I will. D23.
Then you can meet one of these 2 sexy beasts.
That's
right. Where are you? Yeah!
Love the record.
Will, just tell me that Logan didn't text you before, like, are you ready for the sexy segue? Here it comes. Worst picture of Steven and the Sarlacc ever. Here it comes. No, that's not the Sarlacc.
That's a Rancor, not a Sarlacc.
Oh, here we
Shut,
go.
I told you. I knew it. Right when I said it, I knew I said the wrong name.
That's all right.
Good job. Good timing, Logan. Good time.
So,
that's what I'm here for.
So Steve, people can find you at the Media Meltdown, right? You want to just give one last plug before we end things?
The Media Meltdown MO on Twitter. Just go to MediaMeltdownPodcast.com and find us there. But
find all the shows.
And the Media Meltdown Mousecast is the one that we do and have been doing for a significant amount of time, Logan. And it's great. So go check us out. And I'm telling you, in the next few weeks, Logan will be a part of the show. There's no way that he won't.
Awesome.
So we're fun and we don't take things too seriously. And Will and TJ and Julie have been on a couple of times. So it's a fun group.
It's a great group.
We support on everything. So come on and take a look, and we're fun.
Awesome.
We're not angry like Logan is, all aggressive. You pronounced her name wrong. Brr. We're just like the blue chick with the small shirt. I'm like, yay, that's
Ayla Sakura. Yeah, her.
That's her. So I told you, Will, what happens? You bring that up.
Logan, thank you for being our fact man on tonight's show.
No problem.
No, it's great having you. You are our resident Star Wars expert. One of them at least. So we definitely wanted to have you on tonight's show. You literally watched all 30 hours. I was at work and I watched as much as I could, but I knew it was cool because I knew I could always count on you. I'd like text you. I was like, did that just happen? And you'd be like, I know. And I was like,
or like, I went to lunch. Did I miss anything?
Yeah. Give me the recap. And you're like, no, it was the Star Wars collectible panel of the like $5,000 collectibles that are like movie props.
I actually have, dude, my Darth Vader Kotobukiya is amazing. I love him.
Hey,
That's
Will,
awesome.
when can I insert that I'm offended that you asked Logan, who's watching it online, as to opposed to me that was freaking there?
It's because
You're like, hey, Logan, did I miss anything? Wah.
Self-service in the
I
Anaheim
should maybe
Convention
ask
Center is
Steve,
not
who's standing in
great.
line to see it in person right now.
it's because I
When
texted
can I
you.
be offended? Just tell me when I'm allowed to be offended, and then I'll insert that offended emotion right now. Logan's sitting on his laptop. Sarah and I are in a queue, 40,000 people long, waiting to see it, and you're asking Logan. Give me a break.
It's true. I do apologize.
Look at Jason over there on the side. You know what he's thinking right now? He's thinking, I follow Media Meltdown Mousecast on Instagram because they have all the breaking news. I don't listen to Logan. He's a hack. He's new. I follow Steve.
with that, Jason, thank you for joining tonight's show.
Me?
And-
on the show. I forgot.
wait.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know, right?
I forgot we're recording tonight. Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing. Everyone in the chat is like, "Are you done with your book yet, Jason? Or you're done with your block art self-portrait?"
I'm nervous. What does the chat say tonight, Will? Like, what's going on in there? I can't see it, so I'm really scared.
It's craziness. Well, in that case, they're all talking bad about you since
Of
you're
course
not
they are.
looking
That's
at
what I bring to this show. Is
No, just kidding.
I'm the antagonist of the show.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so with that, thanks everyone who did join us and sticked out through our Star Wars conversation. Again, we're going to have another Star Wars conversation in a couple weeks, and it's probably just going to continue from there. Next week on the roundtable, really excited to have James from the Infinity Museum. So we had some people in the chat asking us what this is. The Infinity Museum, you guys, it's crazy. James has every Disney Infinity related item that you could possibly think of. I'm talking throw pillows, I'm talking blankets, I'm talking things you don't even know exist, and he's going to be on next week's show giving us a breakdown of kind of how he acquired all these items and just a little bit of
I want to know how his wife gave him permission. That's
it's crazy. But he's an awesome guy. He listens to the show, and we've been trying to set this up for a while now, so really excited to have that. So yeah, everyone tune in next week. But I think that's gonna wrap it up. Stay tuned for a little bit of after show, and the shenanigans will continue. But do want to thank everyone for joining us this week, and thanks to the panelists. I don't even know what we call ourselves anymore. The Square, the Cat People, the we're just everything. So with that, everyone, we really appreciate you joining us this week, and until next week, we hope your week is filled with infinite possibilities. We hope you enjoyed episode 85 of the Inside Infinity podcast on DisneyInfinity.tv, your source for all things Disney Infinity. If you like what we do, please subscribe to our YouTube videos. Also subscribe to our partner network, Res TV. Just head over to youtube.com/ResTV.